state legislature. Anything?
I want to get you caught up here with a collision on I-85 that had all lanes blocked. We now have Chris Mulcahy in the Live Impact studio. Just talk us through here where this is, Chris, and what happened.
Well, first off, breaking news. You had I-85 that was completely shut down northbound, and this is east of Beatty's Drive. That's exit 27 if you keep track of the numbers. And then it's in between there, and the next exit that you're going to be able to take is either Morse Chapel or to Sam Wilson. Sam Wilson is the most populous one. So technically it's just west of Morse Chapel Road, but we're actually seeing a movement.
Yes.
You saw a complete blocked I-85 northbound, and that is significant because we know if you've ever driven it, it literally is the most backed up stretch of road each and every morning. So the fact is, like, when Becca was first showing me this incident, I came in here to do weather, but since I did do traffic here for 3 to 4 years, I was like, oh no, I'll jump in, I got everything. I said, well, I hope it's not. I know, right? Yeah. I said, I hope it's not I-85 northbound. Yes, it was. So the good news is that we're now at least seeing traffic pull over there. If we can go back to the camera, what you're going to be able to see here is everything got moved over to the shoulder. Oftentimes, whenever you have an incident that's blocking anything, they have to shut down the interstate if it's on the opposite side to clear it. This one, you literally had a truck that was diagonal. We don't have any new updates exactly what happened here, but then sometimes if you have multiple cars, the worst thing, and this isn't dogging anything about the NCDOT in North Carolina, is that they take a little bit longer because of the investigation. So it's per protocol. So worst thing for traffic, not any dogging on the actual organization itself. It just takes a while for them to often investigate what happens. If it was a fatal incident, this would probably be frozen a little bit more and they probably wouldn't have unblocked all the lanes. Not saying that something like that didn't happen, but at least we are seeing traffic flow. So that's some great news. Looks like just the shoulder is blocked for the time being. The previous update that we had was about 101 that they were going to open up the interstate. That doesn't mean that the shoulder isn't going to be blocked, because oftentimes even the shoulder being blocked by 1 to 2 vehicles is going to slow things down. With this much activity, there's still going to be a really big of a bottleneck as people are going to be slowing down, making sure that, well, for one, see what's going on, right, but then slowing down in general to make sure that they're safe for all the emergency crews. So I wouldn't be surprised if it is still a couple hours until this thing is fully clear.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good news then. At least lanes are reopened for you.
Real quick, I'm going to
that backup looks horrible, though, well through McAndreville.
Yeah.
So really anything out of Gastonia can expect to hit some brake lights. And
there
do
it
people
is.
use, 5 miles.
Yeah, about 5 miles.
5 miles of a parking lot to get through.
And before traffic was moving, SIG Alert will sometimes tell you the estimation. They were saying a 2-hour delay. I would still say it takes a while, because think about a train. When it's at a standstill, it takes a while for it to get going and catch its momentum. Traffic is the same thing. Once it's stopped, it takes a while for it to generally flow. So I don't think it's another 15 to 20 minutes until it actually fully starts moving, but it's still going to be slow until everything clears from there.
Is it worthwhile then to take, is that Lakewood Road or 74 south of 85, parallels 85 to get into Charlotte, maybe?
I think at this point, because a lot of people are reporting that, hey, it's back open, so if you want to try to get around it, you can. But at this point, yeah, if you're from Gastonia and you're driving west and you know that you're gonna be stuck in traffic regardless, so say you're just about to head out the door and you're just tuning us on, yeah, I would say maybe just take 2974 over there. I think that would be a much better move in general, but I think probably you can't really tell, because if they give me an estimation at 101, I'm going to see if anything else new came down. Let's see. Oh, there we go. There was the clear. Road is reopened, which doesn't say when the shoulder is. So, yeah, I think that if you're not leaving for another hour or so, you're good. But if you're literally about to head out the door, I would maybe take a different route, Highway 7 over to 29, 74, or whatever you want to call it, over through that stretch to Wilkinson.
Right. Very good. It's cold out, Chris. I know you said it was going to be cold, and there was the frost, kind of a heads up for plants and whatnot. But yeah, it was an eye opener this morning. Need to be like, yeah, Chris did say it was going to be in
He
30s.
did tell us. You warned us.
I did, and I'm happy to say that one of the biggest things that helps us not cool down to our maximum potential is the winds. It was ever so slight that we had enough mixing that it didn't allow us to cool down to the 30s. Now, a lot of us dropped down to about Salisbury, you were at 34. I know 36 was the low around Statesville. We stayed around 40 for Charlotte, which is good because it kept us out of the frost zone. But it doesn't matter because if you have lost your northern blood, if you move down here like this guy, I wish I pumped my gas yesterday. It was still really cold because we should be around 47 degrees, but not too long ago, our lows were 70, 67, and 65. So when you do this nonsense,
Yes.
dropping down to about 40, that's just mean spring.
It's a shock. It's a shock to the system, Chris.
Yeah, it's mean-spirited, I'm just saying. But let's get to it. So that frost and freeze alert that is done, that was just a freeze warning that was to the north. We might see another one because we're dropping down to about 40 degrees on Sunday morning, but I think it would be north of the area. And the whole reason why we even have these, and I did a short weather IQ on this, but I actually made a new map. So here in the Impact Studio, you're getting an upgraded version. This is the growing season. So the growing season will start usually in April and goes until November. But just as you ever look up, what zone do I live in? Can I plant here? The same thing kind of goes for the growing season, and it can start early and it can end early. And in the generality of things, this is based on a 30-year average. The next time we'll have an updated date, which will most likely put this into March for Charlotte, will be 2030 because it goes by to every 10 years. But on average, our growing season starts on the 1st. And the reason why this is significant is if the growing season begins, most likely you have tiny flowers, especially on fruited plants. If there's a frost or a freeze, the National Weather Service goes into what's called the frost freeze program because they have to alert us to protect our plants. They're not going to do this anything outside of pretty much March to April and October to November because that's outside of the growing season. So that's usually only when you see these. It's at the end of the season, whenever you have your first hard freeze, that ends the program. But for us, as long as there's going to be a chance for the 30s, there's likely be a frost advisory if it's a calm wind, or if there's a chance, even if it's within 5 degrees, they'll likely issue a freeze warning until we don't have to worry about it anymore. And speaking of, I actually did bring this up. Most recent data has our coldest morning on Sunday, but all in all, we are trending up. So I said to everyone, I'm going to try to keep my fingers crossed for the time being. But some other dates, we're already past the average last freeze here in Charlotte. That's March 28th. Tomorrow is actually the average last frost. So this was kind of right on brand that we even had that potential. But the latest, I want you to focus on the two bottom parts of these two boxes. The latest freeze we ever had was May 2nd in Charlotte history, and May 18th is the latest frost. So there's always the chance. I'm only showing you 10 days out past tax day. But at that point, if you have any plants, you just throw a sheet over it, you're fine. It's just being aware that that could be a possibility, and then you'll be able to protect them plants, unless you already brought them to their demise because you have a black thumb like myself.
And myself too. But yeah, you got to protect your investment there. So thanks for that, Chris. We heard about some traffic diversions, or I should say plane diversions into Charlotte Airport yesterday. James?
Yeah.
Our producer, right, and weather producer. This was his screenshot from
All right, let's see it.
on flights that they
Wow.
had to be in this holding pattern because of storms to South Florida. So there was a ground stop, West Palm, Fort Lauderdale, Miami yesterday, and then some holding patterns in Charleston as well as Myrtle Beach.
What
And
time
then-
was this? I'm sorry to interrupt. What time do you think roughly did they say?
That- I don't.
Or
Late afternoon,
late
early
afternoon.
evening, and then there were some flights diverted into Charlotte. So those storms from Tennessee and Kentucky because of the flooding there. So flights also had to. We hosted a lot of diverted flights yesterday. I believe, looking at FlightAware, that for the most part, flights are back on schedule, running on time, but still maybe a dozen delays or so.
17 right now reporting.
17
in
delays?
out of Charlotte Douglas.
Okay,
So,
so that's
yeah,
not
that's not terrible.
considering a 9:30 in the morning kind of deal. But
Yeah, it's either one of two reasons. For one, it's either going to be wind shear. Wind shear historically took down the most planes, especially in the 70s and 80s, before we were accurately tracking it. Once we got new radar systems in the late 80s, so that's number one, because I know they had some of that. But then also, whenever there's a chance for a downburst or a microburst, they're also going to be doing that as well, because sometimes these isolated downbursts can be a real hindrance for planes. And I was actually talking to some pilots of the Air Force when I was just kind of checking things out over there. They, for one, say avoid magenta. You don't want to fly through that, because there's been some engines that have gone down for even some of the biggest airliners. But then sometimes driving over it or through it just isn't worth it. So they will ground things until the storm system passes, especially for some of the smaller planes. So that's likely what happened here, because microbursts can cause winds up to 150 miles per hour, and wind shear is the change of wind speed and direction with height, and planes don't like that as well. So sometimes I think this is just a massive ground stop, that it was a big enough line that it was like, okay, we're just going to stop and wait for it to pass.
I got an update from James. He said
Okay.
this little flight trackery thing was around noon yesterday.
Okay, so
So that gives you a bit of a time frame.
a little bit of a moment there for Florida flights.
Thanks for listening, James.
Yep, thank you, James.
Yeah. By the way, yeah, shout out again to him yesterday, because my graphics weren't working, or the
Yes.
computer. So all of a sudden he heard it, and then got Becca that gave her the headset. So yeah,
Right.
James, 2 gold stars, my man.
I mean, really, you see this room, and it's the three of us.
Yeah.
Just the
and-
3 of us.
That's the following hit. But with ears in the newsroom.
No meteorologist left behind.
Exactly.
Not to leave you behind.
Yeah, and I was actually trying to look to see at the radar if there was like anything that I could really actively see there, but I would have to turn a bunch of stuff on. But yeah, those are likely the reasons why. And I always like being here because you guys challenge me. And I'm not sure if you
I don't know if we
guys
mean to.
No, this is good. Challenges are good. No, this is what I'm talking about. But speaking of the green thumb, are you guys doing any stories about the glowing petunias?
Glowing but
Okay,
No.
so check this out.
Shall we?
They're called the firefly petunias, and we did a story on this earlier, so I'm going to tell you now. You can Google it if you want. Do it right now. We had this earlier. So Omaha, what they did is just through their biotechnology, they were able to combine the bioluminescence that comes from some mushrooms and cross it with the genealogy of a petunia. So actually when the sun sets, as long as they have like 6 hours of sunlight, just like those little stars that you would put on the ceiling, they glow at night. So this is like the first kind of flower of that time. We usually don't plant mushrooms. They have a mind of their own, and some of them are underwater. But I thought that was one of the coolest things. And I looked them up online. They're $39.99 for 3. And I was like, maybe I should buy these. But then I realized I would likely kill them, and that's a terrible investment. So,
They are not highly tolerable for black thumbs.
no. So if you are that, raise your hands. Maybe work
Not
on.
you, Carlene.
I'm pretty good. I was gonna say, no. I'm
How are your cacti, by the way?
they're good.
They're good. Okay, there was
They
a.
look great.
People like those updates because you're talking about that. So Carlene's cacti are okay.
All of them are good.
Excellent.
My hostas are okay, and then the debate's still out on Jane's plants.
The non-existent plants.
That's a way to do
We'll
it.
get you a snake.
Then you don't have to worry about anything.
You know,
Start you small.
we'll do that. We'll do that, and I'll kill it within about a month, I'm sure. All right. Well, anyway, Chris Mulcahy, thank you. Both traffic and weather, even if it's not in around the Charlotte area. So
Now, yeah, thanks for keeping me
appreciate all
around. I
that.
appreciate it.